Are we gonna be honest about this NORA FATEHI Jason Derulo record? That record by NORA FATEHI and Jason Derulo, Snake, is not good. And y'all know me. I would not come up here and say something is just not good for me to just shit on it and be like, oh, it's not good. I think that NORA FATEHI is, incredibly talented, right? I think the Karan Aujla record that she had before this, fire. Why I hate the record, especially like viscerally hate that record, is more so of like what it says about the music industry when it comes to diaspora music as a whole. That record is the perfect example of a machine record. But like that record is straight up just an industry record. Like it's getting a huge budget. You can just tell they're doing like a whole, we always talk about rollouts. They're going to every interview. They're doing all the TikTok dances. They're talking to every media to promote that song. So the song is called Snake, and that has to be one of the worst choruses ever. But again, sorry, I like keep shitting on it, but that's really not the point of this. It's more so like it bothers me because it really is more indicative of what's wrong and how out of touch certain labels are. I think that when people think diaspora music, that record is the perfect example of we found the Bollywood star that's popping, and we put him next to Jason Derulo because we think he's like a global Western star. And we know that we can push and market the record insane. Like that record is bad, but it's just going to get a machine behind it. And it does have a machine behind it to get everyone to pay attention to it. But that's not the criticism, right? I think the criticism there is what could be alternatively done if there was somebody in the room that could have said, hey, that's not good. Like the Karan Aujla, like the Wavy record, like that's a record that should probably get pushed from like a label machine. Like fire record. I think we're so like caught up in like trying to just catch like a quick short record and make that individual record make money that we lose sight of like, yo, if the art doesn't last longer than a month, it doesn't matter. Because as soon as that machine leaves, as soon as the machine stops pushing that song, it's not a good enough song to stand in people's hearts and minds by itself, which means it has no long-term catalog value. It's just the short-term value that you get by pumping advertising money into it. It's unfortunate because like those budgets are essentially what keeps the mainstream music industry afloat. Like whatever record is getting pushed is the record that you, the consumer, will most likely see. And usually that works out. Like obviously, like when Kendrick does Not Like Us, everyone's talking about, oh, there's a machine pushing it. Yeah, obviously it's a hit record, right? It's a hit record. It's going to get pushed. And it should be. It's a solid song. It's a solid record. When people talk about like, oh, Drake had the machine next to him. Yes, but they're all solid records. Like the machine works when the record is also solid. But if the record isn't solid, after the machine is done pushing it, it just dies. It's interesting because like when I now think about like obviously so NORA FATEHI I believe is signed to Warner, right? So I think about what that record and how that record essentially exists. Like who's in that room? Who's in that room saying like, yo, I don't think that this is the record that we should be pushing? It's truly frustrating because I look around and there's so much talent. Like if the labels want diaspora music, take your pick. Take your pick. Take your pick of an artist who's truly developed and just fire, and then you could put the machine behind. You don't have to do but it's just so it's easy. That's why. It's literally just because of ease. They think, oh, NORA FATEHI has an audience. We can shove a song down her throat. That's, again, we're talking about diaspora music. That's the music industry at large right now. They're taking a TikTok star, or they're taking somebody who might have caught fame, and then they make them a musician, or they make them a DJ, and that's what you're getting pushed. You're getting pushed the viral influencer star to be a DJ, to be a musician. But they're not actually that, so the art is never that good. There's very few people that have done that and have done it well. Let's be honest. Like, I'm trying to think of a name that like somebody came from just being like, oh, I'm a viral star to, yo, my art is fire. It doesn't happen. And this is, I know this started at the NORA FATEHI conversation. This is not a dialogue on her, because she is superbly talented. Like, that song, she couldn't have saved. It's not because of her talent or lack thereof, or like, it's not that. That record, somebody wrote that record for her and was like, yo, go perform this. Somebody got to fire that songwriter. Somebody got to look at them and be like, you know what? Not fire, like that's harsh. I think it's just like the bar for what should get the machine. Like, that record, sure, if you want to make it because you're like, hey, we're going to put Jason Derulo, we're going to put NORA FATEHI, we're going to get a record out of this. But there's, like, I would be okay with that, I guess, if there wasn't such a high amount of choice for that specific record. Like, there's so many people and so many other records that probably should get that push, that once you give it to the NORA FATEHI and Jason Derulo's of the world, it doesn't push culture. It doesn't push culture. It doesn't do anything else. Like, I can name right now some records that I was like, yo, I wish this had like a real label budget next to it.